गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन यामुनतीरवनचारी यामुनतीरवनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय ओं विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजक आचार्य अष्टोत्र सदस्य श्रीमद एसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। कृष्ण ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति विकास स्वामी नामिने। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 21, Text 18. The chapter entitled "The Gopis Glorify the Song of Krishna's Flute." So please repeat after me. Hanta ayam adrihi abalaham haridasavaryah yat Ramakrishna Charana Sparasha Pramodah Manam Tanoti Sah Go Ganayoho Tayoho Yat Paniyam Suyavasam Kandaram Kandamulaihi Hantaya Madrirabala Haridasavaryo Yadrama Krishna Charanas Parasha Pramodaha Manang Tanoti Sahago Ghanayos Tayoryat Pani Yasuyavasa Kandara Kandamulaihi Hantaya Madrirabhala Haridasavaryo Yadrama Krishna Charana Sparasha Pramodaha Manang Tanoti Sahago Ghanayos Tayoryat Pani Yasuyavasa Kandara Kandamulaihi Hantaya Madrirabhala Haridasavaryo Yadrama Krishna Charana Sparasha Pramodaha Manang Tanoti Sahago Ghanayos Tayoryat पानीयसूयवसकन्दरकन्दमूलैः हन्ताय मद्रिरबला हरिदासवर्यो पानीयसूयवसकन्दरकन्दमूलैः माताजी's हन्ताय मद्रिरबला हरिदासवर्यो यद्रामकृष्णचरणस्पर्शप्रमोदः मानं तनोति सह गोगणयोस्तयोर्यत् पानीयसूयवसकन्दरकन्दमूलैः हन्त Oh, I am this Adrihi hill Abalaha. O friends, Haridasa Varyaha, the best among the servants of the Lord. Yet, because Ramakrishna Charana, of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna and Balarama, Sparasha, by the touch, Pramodaha, jubilant, Manam, respect, Tanoti, offers, Saha, with, Goganayoho, the cows, calves and cowherd boys, Tayoho, to them, Sri Krishna and Balarama. Yet, because Paniya, with drinking water, Suyavasa, very soft grass, Kandara, caves, Kandamulaihi, and edible roots. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada's followers. Translation: of all the devotees, this Govardhana hill is the best. O my friends, this hill supplies Krishna and Balarama along with their calves, cows and cowherd friends with all kinds of necessities, water for drinking, very soft grass, caves, fruits, flowers and vegetables. In this way, the hill offers respects to the Lord. Being touched by the lotus feet of Krishna and Balarama, Govardhana hill appears very jubilant. Purport. This translation is quoted from Srila Prabhupada's Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, chapter 18, text 34. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura explains the opulence of Govardhana hill as follows. Paniya refers to the fragrant, cool water from the Govardhana waterfalls, which Krishna and Balarama drink and use to wash their feet and mouths. Govardhana also offers other beverages such as honey, mango juice and pilu juice. Suyavasa indicates Durva grass used to make the religious offering of Arghya. Govardhana also has grass that is fragrant, soft, and conducive to the strong growth of cows and increased production of milk. Thus, this grass is used for feeding the transcendental herds. Kandara refers to the caves where Krishna, Balarama, and their friends play, sit, and lie down. These caves give pleasure when the weather is too hot or too cold, or when it is raining. Govardhana also features soft roots for eating, jewels for ornamenting the body, flat places for sitting, and lamps and mirrors in the form of smooth stones, glistening water, and other natural substances. Mong Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vikasa Swaminiti Namine Namong Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Antaya Madhira Bala Haridasa Varyo Yadrama Krishna Charana Sparasha Pramodaha Manang Tanoti Sahago Ganayos Tayoryat Paniya Suyavasa Kandara Kandamulaihi. Of all the devotees, this Govardhana hill is the best. Oh my friends, this hill supplies Krishna and Balarama along with their calves, cows, and cow herd friends with all kinds of necessities, water for drinking, very soft grass, caves, fruits, flowers, and vegetables. In this way, the hill offers respects to the Lord. Being touched by the lotus feet of Krishna and Balarama, Govardhana hill appears very jubilant. It's a very auspicious day. Today is the celebration of Govardhan Puja. The Lord, who is called as Giridhari, one who lifted the mountain Govardhan. It's a very grand celebration. And specifically, we see in today's verse how the gopis are glorifying the unique position of Giri Govardhan, how he is the best of the servants, and also how he is providing the facilities for Krishna, Balaram, and other Gopas, and of course Supreme Lord Sri Krishna with Srimati Radharani and other gopis. He is providing all the facilities for the Lord's pleasure, for the Lord's enjoyment. And so today in the class we will try to discuss about the unique position of Giri Govardhan, and later in the during the second session, Murari Prabhu will describe about the pastimes of this entire Govardhan Leela. So we will try to understand the identity of Govardhan and also the mood in which he serves the Lord and what we can imbibe from that. So there are several verses in the scriptures which is being quoted regarding the position of Govardhan, how he plays a dual role as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and also we could say as the Supreme Personality of Servator Godhead, or he serves the Lord as a devotee. So we'll try to understand and try to look for some references from the scriptures in understanding that. And also all the great acharyas have quoted regarding the unique position of Giri Govardhan and how we take shelter of him and how we pray to him to develop that mood of service, which is the essence of spiritual life. Our whole entire existence is meant to simply to serve Krishna and his pure devotees. That is the goal of spiritual life. So this is a very important and understanding in one's life. Unless we get to this point, in fact, the entire Vedas, all the conclusions of the Vedas are meant to drive this one point, that we are eternal servants of Krishna and we are simply meant to serve and please him. So Here is a reference from Skanda Purana. It is mentioned, Govardhanascha Bhagavan Yatra Govardhano Dhritaha Rakshita Yadava Sarve Indra Vrishti Nivaranat. In that place, Lord Krishna lifted Govardhana hill. But here, right in the verse, it is mentioned, Govardhanascha Bhagavan. He is Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. It's not some mountain or some stone that we may look with a mundane eyes and think it's some kind of a mountain they are worshipping. Actually, he is non-different from Krishna. And further, the verse explains that how, in that way, he rescued all the Yadavas from the torrential rains that is sent by Indra. Indra Vrishti Nivaranat. So we all know that today, after the Nanda Maharaj with all the inhabitants of Vraja, they took to the worship of Govardhan. Actually, the rain begins after the festival. So here, very nicely, it is glorified that the Lord protected His devotees. So here is another verse from the Garga Samhita. Garga himself is glorifying. And here is a devotee who attained perfection by the mercy of touching the Govardhan Shila. And here is a glorification about Giriraj. Sri Siddha Uvacha Girirajo Hare Rupang Sriman Govardhano Girihi Tasya Darshana Matrena Naro Yati Kritar Tahatam. The liberated soul said, glorious Govardhana hill, the king of mountains, is the personal form of Lord Krishna. Is none other than Lord Krishna. And he says, Tasya Darshana Matrena. Simply by seeing it, a person attains the supreme goal of life. So just by mere vision of the Govardhana, one attains perfection. So this was from Canto 3, Chapter 10, verse 14 from the Garga Samhita. And right there in the Bhagavatam, it is explained, Krishnastva Anyatamam Rupam Gopa Vishrambhanam Gataha Shailo Smiti Bhruvan Bhuri Balim Adat Brihad Vapuhu. Krishna then assumed an unprecedented, huge form to instill faith in the cowherd men, declaring, I am Govardhana mountain. Again, we can see Krishna says, I am this, I am non-different from this mountain. And then the Lord ate the abundant offerings, all that was given to him. Brihad Vapuhu. He took a very huge form, and all that was offered to him, the Lord accepted. And we can also see in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, again, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself establishes the unique position of Giri Govardhan. In the past times with Raghunath Das Goswami, the Lord gives him the Shila for worship, and also the Gunja Mala for the worship of Raghunath. And in that series of verses in Antya Leela, there is a verse where the Lord very clearly explains the unique position of Giri Govardhan to Raghunatha Dasa. I think some of the devotees have to move a little bit this side. They are going to make some arrangements. So those who are sitting in the middle can come in the front. Some of them can go on the side. Prabhu kahe, E Shila Krishnera Vigraha, Ihara Sevakara Tumi Karya Agraha. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed Raghunatha Dasa, this stone is the transcendental form of Lord Krishna. E Shila Krishnera Vigraha. Explains. So don't think that it's some simple stone. It is non-different from Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then he says, Ihara Sevakara Tumi Karya Agraha. With great eagerness, you take to the worship of this Govardhan Shila. And he says, please worship with great eagerness. And we will see later with some of the experiences that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had in worshipping Sri Govardhan. So these are some of the verses which we were looking for, explaining that how Krishna is the Govardhan, or the Govardhan is non-different from Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead. And there are also other verses which explains the position of Govardhan as a devotee of the Lord. Govardhano jayati shaila kuladi rajo yo gopikabhir udito haridasa varyah. The same word is being used by Srila Sanatana Goswami in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita. He explains about the unique position of Giri Govardhan. Krishnena shakramaka bhanga kritarchitoya saptahamasya kara padmatale avat tale pyavatsit. So he explains that Govardhana Jayati, all glories to Govardhana, the emperor of lordly mountains, Shaila Kula Adri Adi Rajaha. And he further explains that, so what the gopis, what are they explaining? They explain that the Lord's dear gopis called him the best servant of Hari, as we see in today's Bhagavatam verse. And also in the commentary, His Grace Gopi Paranadhana Prabhu is quoting the same verse and explaining that this particular Giri Govardhan is considered to be the biggest mountain. We all know that Himalayas is considered to be the biggest mountain, or even for that matter, Sumeru is considered to be the tallest and the biggest. But then he says that actually Giri Govardhan is the biggest mountain, the greatest of all the mountains, surpassing in the glory of the Himalayas, Sumeru, and all the other mighty ranges and peaks. Exceeding the power of any mere mountain, he serves Krishna in Krishna's personal abode in several intimate ways. Yeah, and also he was very special. He served the Lord, by being his umbrella, being on top of it. So again other acharyas are also quoting the same point. This is from Srila Raghunatha Dasa Goswami's, what's that? Yeah, actually he offered some 11 prayers in glorification of Govardhan, asking the Lord Govardhan for shelter at his lotus feet. Here is another verse which very clearly explains the position of Govardhan as a great devotee. Nijapati bhujadhanda chatrabhavam prapadhya pratihata madha drishto dhanda devendra gharva atula prutula shaila shreni bhupa priyam me nija nikata nivasam dehi govardhanatvam. So Raghunath Dasa Goswami prays, O Govardhana, O king of all incomparable great mountains, O hill that became an umbrella with the arm of your own Lord as the handle, and then destroyed the pride of the Deva king, madly attacking with raised weapons. Please grant the residence near you that is dear to me. So again, so the Lord, as Govardhana, he served the Lord as an umbrella. Again, he took the position of a servant, although he was above the Lord. So we'll discuss about that more. And then we all know that the Lord's internal potency, Srimati Radharani, she herself, her only desire or her only aim simply to please Krishna. She has no other desire. And she is considered to be the internal potency of the Lord, and she is considered to be the greatest devotee of the Lord. But then Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, again in this prayer, he points out that actually this verse which is being spoken, he points out that in the Bhagavatam it is being spoken, he points out that actually it is spoken by Srimati Radharani. Although it is not Shukadeva Goswami, for various reasons, he doesn't mention the name of Srimati Radharani directly in the Bhagavatam for the confidential reasons. Here, Sri Raghunath Dasa Goswami in his prayer is pointing out, Giri Nripa Hari Dasa Shreni Varyeti Nama Mritam Idam Uditam Sri Radhika Vaktra Chandrat Prajanava Tilakatve Kalpata Vedai Sputang Me Nija Nikata Nivasam Dehi Govardhanatvam. O Govardhana, O king of mountains, O hill whose nectar name, the best of Lord Hari's servants, flows from the moon of Sri Radha's mouth. O hill that the Vedas declare to be the Tilaka marking of Vraja, please grant to me residence near you. So he is also pointing out that Sri Govardhan is the great devotee of the Lord. So now it might appear like a contradiction or a confusion. So who is Govardhan? Is he Supreme Personality of Godhead, or is he the devotee of the Lord, supreme devotee of the Lord. So there is no contradiction or no confusion, because we can understand His Holiness Giriraj Maharaj in one of his lectures, he pointed out very nicely. He explains that we can take the position of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? He is Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna himself. At the same time, he takes the mood of a devotee of the Lord. He experiences what is the great bliss that the great devotees of the Lord experience. How Srimati Radharani is experiencing great bliss of serving Krishna, pleasing Krishna. So similarly, the Lord here takes the form of Giri Govardhan, and he is non-different from Krishna, and he serves the Lord. And in that way, also Maharaj explained a very nice point. He said that as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is showering more mercy. He comes in the Kali Yuga. He wanted to save all the conditioned souls who are suffering in the material world by giving the holy name, and then is trying to save the Lord. Similarly, Govardhan, by taking the role of a devotee, he wants to serve the Lord and serve all his devotees. So, we can see here, so they, all the great gopis are considered to be the greatest devotee of the Lord. When we see in the Bhagavatam, Uddhava is considered to be the greatest devotee of the Lord. And then when further Krishna instructs Uddhava that of all the devotees, the gopis are the dearmost devotees for me, or the greatest devotees, Krishna is explaining. But then the gopis, they explain that actually of all the devotees, Hari Dasa.mp4, of all the great devotees, the Govardhan is considered to be the topmost devotee. So that is the whole point. And also Maharaj very nicely explained about a pastime with Srila Prabhupada. So he explained that how by glorifying, the Lord is more pleased when his devotees are glorified. So it was all early days, so like when Srila Prabhupada, when he was in presence of Gurudas, so Srila Prabhupada had his own deities, Radha Krishna deities, and so he, in front of the deities, Prabhupada was glorifying some of his disciples. So then Gurudas was explaining that Prabhupada, deities are there in front of deities, glorifying his devotees. And then he said that when the devotees are glorified, Krishna is immediately glorified. Krishna is immediately pleased. So in that way, so Giriraj Maharaj was relating that, so they were all in the very early days, they didn't know much about Govardhan. And so Prabhupada also wrote a letter to him explaining when he was given the name Giriraj. So he was explaining that how the Lord as a devotee is serving the Supreme Lord and always looking for opportunities to serve the Lord. So in that way, so glorifying Govardhana is glorifying Krishna, and also Govardhana is always eager to serve the Lord and his devotees. And also I thought that there are some verses in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Also Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Supreme Lord himself, was very much eager and was in great, always used to, whenever he saw, even we remember when we went to Jagannath Puri in the Chatak Parvat, the Lord he will look at the mountain, he will think that to be Govardhan, and then he will go and then embrace and then fall and roll on the ground. So that was a mood of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And also there are some verses in connection to Raghunath Dasa, in giving instructions to Raghunath Das Goswami, how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so much ardent. He himself was personally very much inspired in worshipping Govardhan. So few verses I would like to read from that. Dui apurva vastu pasha prabhu tushta haila smaranera kale ghale pare gunjamala. Upon receiving these two uncommon items, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was extremely happy. While chanting, he would put the garland around his neck. Govardhana Srila Prabhu hriday netre dhare kabu nashai grana laye kabu shire kare. The Lord put the stone to his heart or sometimes to his eyes. Sometimes he would smell it with his nose and sometimes place it on his head. Netra jale shei shila bhije nirantara. Shilare kahene Prabhu Krishna Kalevara. The stone from Govardhana was always moist with tears from his eyes. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would say, this stone is directly the body of Lord Krishna. E mata tina vatsara shila mala dharila tushta hasha Shilamala Raghunate Dhila. For 3 years, he kept the stone and garland. Then, greatly satisfied by the behavior of Raghunath Dasa, the Lord delivered both of them to him. The Lord was given this Sheila and the Gunjamala by one of the devotees, and then the Lord will be worshipping him, will keeping with him. And then later he was very pleased with the service of Raghunath Dasa and his spirit of renunciation. Then the Lord gave the Sheila and the Gunjamala to Raghunath Das Goswami. E Sheelar karatumi satvika pujana achirat pabe tumi Krishna premadhana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, worship this stone in the mode of goodness like a perfect Brahmana, for by which worship you will surely attain ecstatic love of Krishna without delay. Eka kunja jalaar tulasi manjari satvika seva e shuddha bhave kari. For such worship, one needs a jug of water and a few flowers from a tulasi tree. This is worship in complete goodness when performed in complete purity. Dui dike dui patra madhye komala manjari e mata ashta manjari dhibe shraddha kari. With faith and love, you should offer 8 soft tulasi flowers, each with 2 tulasi leaves, one on each side of each flower. Shri Haste Shila Diya e Agya Dila Anande Raghunatha Seva Karite Lagila. After thus advising him how to worship, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally offered Raghunath Dasa the Govardhana Shila with his transcendental hand. As advised by the Lord, Raghunath Dasa worshipped the Shila in great transcendental jubilation. So we can see how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself was very much authorized the worship of Govardhan Shila, and also he was inspiring Raghunath Das Goswami to take to the worship. And also in the Antya Leela there is another reference which explains how also there is another verse which shows that how Raghunath Das Goswami, after having worshipped Govardhana, what a great inspiration and eagerness and enthusiasm he developed. E mata Raghunatha karene pujana, puja kale deka shilai vrajendra nandana. Thus Raghunatha Dasa began worshipping the stone from Govardhan, and as he worshipped, he saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaja, directly in the stone. Again, another evidence which explains that Giri Raj is non-different from Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And again in the Madhya Leela, it is explained how when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was traveling towards to Vrindavan, he expressed his ecstasy seeing the Govardhan. Govardhana deki Prabhu prema vishta hai nachite nachite chalita shloka padiya. Just by seeing Govardhana hill, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became ecstatic with love of Krishna while dancing and dancing. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was having a great ecstatic dance in seeing the beautiful Govardhana hill. So this is the great speciality of the unique position of Giri Govardhan, and worshipping Giri Govardhan and offering prayers. And also we see another, just from the very name of Govardhana, Go refers to the cows and Vardhana refers to expanding. So there is a nice verse right there in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita which explains again about the glories of Govardhan. And before we go to that, there is also very nicely explained, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami himself, he explains the glory of what Govardhana, what he does. Stala jala tala shashpair bhuruha chayayacha pratipadam anukalam hanta samvardhayan gaha. Trijagati nija gotram sartakam kyapayan me nija nikata nivasam dehi govardhanatvam. So he explains, oh Govardhana, oh hill, that by nourishing the cows, so what he does, what Govardhan does, he nourishes the cows by providing the best of the grasses, as it is explained in this verse. What else he does? He gives him the best of the waters to Krishna, Balaram, when they were thirsty. He was offering them very nice water. And then very nice trees are there in the Govardhan. So whenever the devotees are tired, the Gopas and the Gopis and Krishna himself, so they could take shelter of the nice trees by which he gives the rest. And in that way, he declares to the whole world that um, the appropriateness of his own name. Raghunath Goswami says, what is the appropriateness of his own name? Govardhana. He gives shelter to the cows, and then he promotes the worship of the cow. And then the taking shelter of the cows. So cows are very dear to Krishna. He explains that. So from this we understand that how the Govardhan, he nourishes the cows, and also another meaning also is that he gives pleasure to the cows and the senses. And also in that way, Govardhana hill, he gives pleasure to all the senses of the Supreme Lord. So that is also explained that he is called as Govardhana. So now there's a very important point that we need to, as a beginning also we were discussing that we need to take home, or we need to understand the whole spirit of service that we learn from Govardhan. So from Giri Govardhan, that's what we learn. We can see here, especially in this form as Govardhana hill, the Lord and his devotees and all the cows and then the other cowherdmen, everybody, they were all going on top of Govardhan. In that way he was serving, and then in that way he was pleasing the Lord and his devotees. Then there's also another unique position specifically for this Govardhan Puja. So when Indra became very angry and he sent the Samvartaka clouds and there was a torrential rain, this time he took another way by which he served the Lord and his devotees. And he became an umbrella for the Lord and his devotees. In that way, he went on top of the Supreme Lord and his devotees. So this was another unique position. See, generally, devotees always want to be on a subservient role. Always, servant means always he wants to be at the lotus feet of the Lord and his devotees, right? But here we can see, as Govardhan, he went on top this time. In that way, he arranged all the devotees. You know, we can see always in Krishna Leela, there are different devotees who are very busy serving the Lord in various capacities. They were all serving the Lord. They were very busy with various services, and there was always separation. They could not be together in various situations. But specifically, Govardhan served all the devotees. He made such an arrangement that all the elderly gopis, everyone were together, locked up for 7 days with Krishna. So in that way, he did a great service. He was able to provide great service to the Lord and his devotees, and in that way, he pleased the Lord. And then we can see, for pleasing the Lord, a devotee is ready to do anything for pleasing the Lord. Once actually, I think Srila Prabhupada, he said that for service, you can even stand on my head. You can tread on my head, Prabhupada said to the devotees. And also we can see this amazing pastime in the Chaitanya Leela when Govinda Das, when he wanted to, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu once was in great ecstasy, was dancing for hours and hours, and from morning he was in great ecstasy dancing in Kirtan. And the Kirtan was going on for many hours, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was doing non-stop dance. He was in great ecstasy, he was in great jubilation. And finally Lord Nityanand Prabhu and then Swarup Damodar Prabhu had to trick Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It was already noon, so they had to play some trick to somehow or other make Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stop dancing, because all the devotees have to do their services, they have to cook, they have to do other things. And then so somehow he was tricked, and then he was told that it is lunchtime, so you had to go take bath. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came all the way to the house where he was staying, but he was very tired. He collapsed and then he just fell on the doorway path. So then Govinda Das had to, he is the personal servant of the Lord and he has to render service to him. So what he did, so he had to now to go inside the room. How he can go, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is lying on the way. So he was thinking what to do. So then he offered namaskarams, he offered pranams to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He thought that for serving the Lord, I will cross the Lord. And then he later massaged the Lord and did all the service. And then it was already lunchtime was over. Already was very late. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after some time, he woke up. And then he saw Govinda Das sitting there. And then he asked Govinda, hey Govinda, what are you doing here? You didn't go for lunch? Then said, Mahaprabhu, how can I go? I cannot cross you. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very internally pleased, because he understood that this was Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami also is pointing out that Govinda Das was making the point that for the sake of sense gratification, I cannot commit any offense. But for the sake of pleasing the Lord, I may commit any offense. So now it's not that we have to engage in Krishna service, we have to commit offense or something like that. But that's the mood, that's the understanding that that's the whole point. The whole point of this Krishna consciousness movement is to engage in the service of the Lord. And by engaging in the service of the Lord means pleasing the Lord and His pure devotees. So we have to please the Lord by giving this message of Krishna consciousness to everyone. In that way, engage all the conditioned souls who are suffering in this material world, who are suffering to enjoy the senses, and they are separate from Krishna, and they are having great difficulties in this world. So this is the very key point that we learn from the pastime of Govardhan Puja. There are so many things we can learn. This is one of the points, that the whole mood of service, our whole existence is meant for service. So that we need to understand. So the important principle is that whatever Krishna desires, we should be ready to do. So that is the whole principle. And we can see that's what the great gopis also exemplified. We all know that pastime when Krishna expressed his desire, when he was playing the pastime of, he was suffering from headache, he asked Narada Muni to get the dust of his devotees. Well, when Narada Muni went and approached all great devotees, nobody wanted to give the dust because everybody was scared. How can I give my dust to the Supreme Lord? It's a great sin. So then, it's a long story to make it very short. Then when he came to the gopis, they did not have any second thinking. They said, you want the dust? Okay, take the dust and then just see that immediately our Lord is relieved from the headache. So that is the mood. So here Govardhan is exemplifying that for the service of the Lord, he is ready to be on top of the Lord and his devotees. So he is playing a dual role. He is serving the Lord by allowing all the devotees and the Supreme Lord, Krishna and Balarama. It is explained in this verse. Rama Krishna Charana Sparasha. So they were putting their feet and then they are moving, and he was very pleased with that. And we can see here that the Lord as Govardhan is serving the Krishna in this way. And also we can see from all the great acharyas that also in Srila Rupa Goswami in the Upadeshamrita, in giving gradations of various places, how he gives various gradations of Vaikuntha, and then from Vaikuntha and then Mathura, and then after Mathura then he speaks about Vrindavan and then Govardhan and then Radha Kund, like that the gradations he's giving. And then all the acharyas, you can see all the great acharyas have taken shelter in Radha Kund. They have their own bhajan kutir and they serve. Specifically we can see Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He makes again a very amazing point. He says that I want to take shelter in Govardhan. I want to reside in Govardhan, and from Govardhan I will go to Radha Kund and then serve all those intimate devotees who are engaged in intimate service with Radha Krishna. So and then I will serve them and then I will come back to Govardhan. So he explains that. And then also, so that's the whole point. So he will serve those devotees who are serving those intimate devotees. So this is the mood of again the great Vaishnavas. Gopi Bhritya Padakamalayur Dasa Dasanudas. So that is the very essential point. And also we see our own Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada he has an eternal residence in Govardhan. And he gave Govardhan to his entire world. Who would have ever known about the glories of Govardhan or about the worship of Govardhan? Srila Prabhupada instituted this Govardhan Puja throughout the entire world in the Western countries. Nobody had any clue about Govardhan. Such a mercy he brought to the Western world. And we can see at the last, Srila Prabhupada expressed the desire. We all remember, what was the desire Prabhupada expressed? Srila Prabhupada wanted to go on parikrama, Govardhan parikrama. That's what he was interested in. But then again, there was a transcendental, kind of a confrontation between devotees. In the sense, because there is one instruction that Guru is saying that you should take me to Govardhan parikrama. Even if I leave the body, I will leave the body. And then again, his health condition was so bad that Kaviraj and others, they advised that Prabhupada's health condition is very bad. It's better not to take him. So after a lot of discussion back and forth, Srila Prabhupada, to please his devotees, he decided, not to put the devotees in difficulties, he stayed back. So, but then you can see Prabhupada's desire was to go on Govardhan parikrama. So this is the point that that we should imbibe this mood of developing this mood of service. And that's why we have this International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So we are here. Srila Prabhupada has many times mentioned also in the commentary in the Nectar of Instruction. Prabhupada says that the whole idea of this International Society for Krishna Consciousness is to create pure devotees. And then all the people can come and take association of those devotees and then purify their existence. So this is the whole point. And also very interesting, some years back, His Holiness Bhaktivikas Swami, one Govardhan Puja lecture, it was very mind-blowing. I mean, I didn't even think of that point, but it was very interesting that he's expressed the point that today is a day wherein we have, it's a great happy day, the great happy celebrations we have today, but simultaneously it is also a sad day, he said. So I really couldn't understand at the beginning why he was speaking like that. But then he went on to explain that he said that it's a very sad day because there are so many cows being slaughtered on this day. And not only in this day, every day, India is exporting so many cows. There is a lot of cow slaughter that is going on. In fact, the very worship of Govardhan Puja is glorification, as we at the beginning we heard. It is a glorification of service that we do for the cows, and also because cows are very pleasing for Krishna. So that is the connection. Cows are very pleasing for Krishna. Krishna is very pleased if we serve the cows. And so it is a responsibility of each and every devotee to protect the cows and also preach about the protection of the cows. So what we do, we distribute more Srila Prabhupada's books. In all the books of Srila Prabhupada, the meat eating is so much being condemned. So one person was asking that what are you doing for protecting the cows? We said we are distributing Prabhupada's books. This knowledge about how we need to protect the cows, we need to take care of the cows. So worshipping Krishna and his devotees includes also taking care of the cows. So we can see by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, so many farm communities are established. In so many ISKCON centers, so many cows are being protected. And also we can see many devotees who are very serious. They take milk from the protected cows. So they don't want, in that way, the cows are being protected. So this is also a very important thing that we need to remember on this Govardhan Puja day. So we see what do we do today? What is a special worship? We offer huge annakut, so many bhoga preparations are made. We offer to Govardhan and also we feed the cows. This is the Govardhan Puja. This is a speciality. So that should not be forgotten. And also, we can, one other important point that we can understand from worshipping Govardhan, he is always desiring how to please Krishna and his devotees. And this should be the mood of all the Prabhupada Anugas. In specifically, being Prabhupada Anugas or the followers of Srila Prabhupada, our mood is to please our spiritual master, the previous acharyas. That is true, that should be our mood. So pleasing means we need to understand our movement is a preaching movement. Preaching is the essence, right? Purity is the force, books are the basis, utility is the principle, preaching is the essence. Sometimes as Atma Prabhu used to say, everything else is nonsense. So that the point is that we need to get to this mood that that we should not be simply satisfied with our own practice, but we should come forward because we can see immediately we have another month to go for the marathon to begin, right? So of course, for those devotees who are very serious, every day is a marathon. Every day people are royally going towards hell, and so it's our responsibility to bring as many conditioned souls as possible to the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. So, I mean, in this prayers that is offered by Sri Raghunatha Goswami, he takes a very, very menial position, and then he says in one of the in the verse number 10 of this prayers that he offered, he says that Nirupadi karunena Sri Sachinandanena Tvai kapati shato pitvat priyanarpitosmi. He says that although I am a cheater and a criminal, unlimitedly merciful Lord Sachinandana, who is very dear to you, has given me to you. He offers his praise to Govardhana. Actually, he is a very pure devotee of the Lord, but he takes a very humble position. Iti kalu mama yogyatam mam agrahagnan nija nikata nivasam dehi govardhanatvam. So he says that, oh my dear Lord, please do not consider whether I am acceptable or unacceptable. Don't see my qualification. please engage me in your service. Give me residence near to you. So we can offer our prayer to Srila Prabhupada and his pure followers that if we just as Jogyata Vichare Kichu Nahi Pai Tumara Karuna Shar. If you see what is our qualification, we do not have any qualification. No qualification at all. But we cannot even imagine what kind of mercy that we have got. We have got the holy name. We have got the association of pure devotees. We have got the prasadam of the Lord. We have got the great narrations of Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and all other great Vedic literatures. All these things we have got by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. So our prayer is always that somehow or other we should always be engaged in the service of Srila Prabhupada. If we are engaged in service of Srila Prabhupada, then we have everything with his holy name. We have Krishna, we have Govardhana, everything else. Everything else is coming from the service of Srila Prabhupada. So this should be our mood, that as here Raghunath Das Goswami is offering, we are certainly unqualified, we are certainly not worthy. If we just go back and then see what is our past, what we were doing, we don't want to look into the past, but also we look into the past and then we realize that we don't want to be like that. We want to be Krishna conscious. So this always reminds also how in the Bhagavatam it is explained how Nalakuwara and Manigriva, so they simply got the mercy due to the mercy of Narada Muni, isn't it? So Krishna in one place says that as far as I am concerned, I do not know who is this Nalakuwara and Manigriva. But because Narada Muni, he said, so I am here to deliver them. So similarly, for us, the only hope. So if you see, there are the unlimited universes are there. Unlimited universes, unlimited planets. And if we take what is our position, we are very, 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 very tiny soul. Very tiny in his entire universe. And Krishna will recognize us because if we try to please Srila Prabhupada, Krishna will recognize us. So we have a great role to play. Although we may be very tiny, even we do any small service, Krishna is pleased, Prabhupada is pleased. And in that way, we get the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and also we get the mercy of Govardhana. So it's also a good meditation. We are going to go to Vrindavan. And when we approach, because we are going to have this program in Govardhana. So when we see Govardhana, we may, with our mundane vision, we may see it as simply a mountain, an ordinary mountain, but he is non-different from Krishna. And also another thing not to forget, there is also one external reason. Actually Govardhana, we hear that Govardhana is, we don't have the vision, we can't see. It's the greatest mountain, the biggest mountain is explained. Also, apparently due to a curse of Pulastya Muni, that every day by the width of a mustard seed, the Govardhana is reducing. In Satya Yuga, this curse was given. But devotees know what is the reason that the Govardhana, because of the great separation from the Lord, he is shrinking. This is the reason. So anyway, there are so many things which can be spoken. So for us, we need to learn how the Lord shows himself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is, for us, we should take complete shelter of the Supreme Lord and his devotees. And we will hear more about the pastime of the Govardhana Leela itself, how it took place, how the Lord showed himself by this Leela that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is no need for us to take shelter of any of the demigods. In fact, by this Leela, he showed that there is no need to worship any demigods. So this is our understanding. And we will hear during the day more about it. So we'll stop here unless you have any questions or comments, anything to add. Some devotees can add to it. Yes, Prabhu. Yes. Yes. Sanatana Goswami, yes. The Govardhana Shila, that is that. Yes. There's a good point here. Murari Prabhu is making that the Govardhana Shila that is given to Sanatana Goswami, it's non-different from the Govardhana. We can see when we go to Radha Damodar temple, we can see when Sanatana Goswami became old, he was not able to do the parikrama with the Lord manifested and gave the Govardhana Shila there. So again, it's non-different from Govardhana. That is also there. Anything else? Okay, thank you very much. Shri Giri Govardhan ki jai, Govardhan Puja Mahotsav ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.